In ArcGIS Pro, we can access geoprocessing tools from multiple interfaces, and we call that collectively the geoprocessing framework. And it's amazing how many tools are available to ArcGIS users. And it's really what differentiates ArcGIS from other GIS software packages are these geoprocessing tools. When I use QGIS, which is a very functional open source GIS package, it has a lot of the same mapping capabilities that ArcGIS has, but what it doesn't have is the depth of geoprocessing tools that allow me to perform the analyses that I want to. Now, tools can be chained together into a sequence, utilizing, for example, a model or a script, and we'll talk more about that. And the ArcGIS framework exposes all aspects of geoprocessing, including not just the geoprocessing parameters, but the environmental parameters and values as well. And so if you look at the screenshot at the bottom of this slide, you can see all the different interfaces we can utilize to access geoprocessing, including from the analysis ribbon, from the geoprocessing toolboxes, from the geoprocessing portal, which is the cloud geoprocessing functionality, from interactive workflows, from automated models, scripts, and commands, and even from your entire geoprocessing history for a project. Now let's take a closer look at each of these interfaces in the geoprocessing framework. What I like about the ribbon is that the entire geoprocessing framework is accessible from the analysis ribbon. When you open up that ribbon, the tools are organized into different groups, including geoprocessing, tools, portal, workflows, and raster. And it includes a tools gallery that is customizable and provides easy access to common tools. And so if we look at the image at the bottom, you can see the analysis ribbon. If I want to access the toolboxes or portal, I click on the tools button. If I want to access a tool, I can click in the tools gallery there. For example, clip. I can access workflows. I can access models, scripts, and commands, as well as the geoprocessing history. One of the easiest ways to access geoprocessing tools is from the toolboxes pane. When you open up the toolboxes pane at the very top is a search box, and that is one of the easiest ways to find a geoprocessing tool. It's just, for example, to type the word clip in the search box, hit enter, and it will often find the clip tool for you. You can also locate tools in the toolboxes, which are thematically organized into toolboxes and tool sets. So when I click on the toolboxes panel, you can see I've got a toolbox, for example, like analysis tools, and then tool sets, in this case, extract, in which the clip geoprocessing tool is stored and can be accessed. I can right-click any tool to access a context-sensitive menu to launch, edit, favorite, batch, and open help for a geoprocessing tool. And then one thing I really like about the context-sensitive menu is the ability to use batch. And what batch does, it allows you to replicate a geoprocess on multiple data sets. If you look at the example on the right, I've right-clicked on clip and selected batch, and that opens up geoprocessing batch clip, in which I can pick which parameter I want to change each time. And then that allows me to set different parameters for the batch parameter I selected. So in this case, I want to use the same clip, which is the study area, but I want to change the input features. So I set the input features as my batch parameter, and then I select multiple different layers and click run, and it will clip all of those layers at once and output them where I tell it to. You can access geoprocessing tools from ArcGIS Online or GeoAnalytics servers. Portal tools run on ArcGIS Online in the cloud, or maybe you have a custom GeoAnalytics server that's federated with your portal that you can access, for example, from ArcGIS Pro. Note that ArcGIS Online portal tools may consume credits. And if you look on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see that you can access these ArcGIS Online portal tools from the analysis ribbons, Ready to Use Tools button, as well as the portal panel in the geoprocessing pane. And notice that it's the same portal tools accessible in both places. And I'm guessing that this list of tools will expand as ESRI moves more of the geoprocessing from the desktop into the cloud. You can access geoprocessing through interactive workflows, which are pre-configured steps that guide users through a process. We might call these wizards, for example. And workflow tasks can include any geoprocessing tool. And if you look at the image on your right, you can see that there's some plug and play workflows ready to go listed on the analysis ribbon in the workflow group. For example, suitability modeler or visibility analysis. But you can also create your own custom workflows utilizing tasks. And I've created a task called clip and intersect workflow with 2 steps, first clip and then intersect, and it interactively guides the users through this process. Workflows are a great way to standardize a process that includes a lot of geoprocessing steps. You can access geoprocessing tools through automated visual models. Models are visual workflows that string together geoprocessing tools, and you use Model Builder to create, edit, and manage the models. And it's really great because it's a graphical user interface with a visual presentation of the models that can be saved as models in a project or even in a custom toolbox that can be shared across projects. In the example on the right, I've taken the clip geoprocess and the intersect geoprocess, and I've connected them so that my clip output, which is the wetland study area, is intersected with launch site to produce the wetlands impacted output layer. And you can see that I've saved my custom model in my custom project toolbox, starbase.atbx, visible in the toolboxes section of the catalog pane. You can access geoprocessing tools through automated scripts. Automated scripts are workflows that string together tools utilizing ArcPy, which is ArcGIS Python. They can be run via a script, a notebook, or a geoprocessing tool. And if you look at the image on the right, you can see that I've opened up a new notebook and created a cell in that notebook in which I've loaded Wetlands Impact Analysis script, which is my ArcPy script that automates that process of creating a clip and intersecting it to create wetlands impacted. And that custom Wetlands Impacted Analysis script is stored in my custom Starbase toolbox, as well as in a Wetlands Impact Analysis Jupyter notebook. You can access geoprocessing tools from a command prompt, which is actually how I ran GIS when I learned it back in college. There was no graphical user interface. We just entered in command after command. And you're like, well, why would you want to go back to that? Well, sometimes you can run scripts through this command prompt and see how they work really quickly. You can also use autocomplete in the command prompt. And sometimes when you're running processes over and over again, it's actually more quick to run them in the Python command window than it is manually through a graphical user interface. So here you can see I've taken the clip model and exported it to the Python window, and then I'm running the same clip and intersect geoprocesses that output the wetlands impacted layer. And if you look at the far right side of the analysis ribbon, you'll find raster functions. Raster functions allow you to apply raster operations directly to image pixels and cells. But the thing about raster functions is they don't produce output data sets. The calculations are applied to pixels and cells only within the display extent, with no intermediate or output data sets created. So the results are just stored as an iteration in the cache. Now, the great thing about raster functions is that functions can be chained together to create workflows. And then once you get to an output layer that you like, you can then export it out and create a new raster data set. And if you look on the right side, you can see up on the analysis ribbon, the raster functions button that opens the raster functions. And in this example, I'm using the clip properties raster function, which is going to clip a satellite image by a specified extent and output the results as an interim raster layer that I could view, and then if I wanted to, save as a raster data set in my Project Geo database. Last, we can access geoprocessing tools from history. History is accessible on the far left-hand side of the analysis ribbon, and when you click it, it lists each geoprocess that you've run as a part of this project. And if you click on any of the tools, you can view the detailed information about that tool that you've run. You can also reopen the tool and run it again with the same settings or even change a couple of settings. It's a great way to iterate through when you're trying to figure something out. And you can also select and convert multiple tools to a script. And if you look at the right-hand side of your screen there, and when I select a geoprocess like the intersect, I can see the history of that geoprocess. And when I right-click it, I can open, run it again, and I can even send it to a Python command window or script.